Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So, dear Dharma practitioners, in a samurai temple, there was a new student. Young boy came and became a monk. And then in that Zen temple, he started to practice Zen meditation and became a kind of like a very good student. And everybody became so friendly with him, and at the same time everybody had the trust regarding that new student. So one day the high priest called him and told, be ready to go to another temple little bit far away, and I want to send a letter. So that time there was not like today delivery services. So this student got ready, and then he packed his bag and everything, and he had his sword with him. Then the high priest hand over the letter to him and told, for any reason you cannot lose this letter, and also remember it should go to the high priest, and don't allow anyone else to get this letter, and in any cost you cannot lose this. So protect this and hand over to the high priest. Now he having a task. So he took the responsibility with the respect. And then what happened? He will start to go, and on the way, and he had to cross a bridge. In the other side of the bridge, there was another samurai, and he had a task to kill 100 samurais whoever crossed that bridge and want to become a warrior in that area. And these samurais sometimes having some crazy ideas, when they want to test their skills themselves, and sometimes they challenge people, and they have kind of like that attitude. So this person was like that, and he already killed 99 samurais, and then he waiting for the 100th one. So this guy, this little new monk, came to the other side of the bridge, and this warrior told him, if you cross this river, this bridge, you have to fight with me. Otherwise, you cannot leave this place. You have to win to go away from here. And this new monk, he didn't know anything about the sword, and he didn't know anything about fighting. And he told, please forgive me, and I have a letter to deliver. So I will deliver the letter to this temple, and I will come back, then fight with you. So this warrior knew that temple and that high priest, and he had the respect to that high priest. And hearing that name, and he told, okay, you go and hand over the letter. I will wait here. So you come back and fight with me. And then both agreed to that, and then this new monk went to the Saint temple and hand over the letter to high priest and told what happened, and thinking get some help out of that high priest. And then high priest told, you cannot fight with him. and you have to get ready to die. So prepare your death. And how you can do? Go to the bridge and lift your sword, close your eyes, and wait for your death. And bring your attention to in front of your nose and your upper lip area and catch the sensation of your breath. And then you will feel the cold. That's mean the invitation for the death. So accept it. Don't think anything else. So this new young monk was helpless, and he thought there's no way. And he promised that for the warrior, he come back. So they in the spiritual practice, especially when it go to the samurais, they develop one thing, that is integrity. You know, it's a something big. They ready to give up anything to protect their words. So this young monk came back, and he get ready to die. So he raised his sword over his head and closed his eyes and just brought his attention to the sensation and wait for the invitation of the death. That's mean the cold. And the other samurai, look, he came back. And that's mean he is some kind of, skillful person. Otherwise, he had time to escape from something. And now he's raised his sword and closed his eyes and don't even move any single movement. The other samurai start to observe, is there any movement? He doesn't move. He's kind of like a statue. Then the other samurai thought, oh, this is something. I should not make any mistake. And then this young new samurai, this Zen monk, heard the sword, fell down, kind of like some sword fell down to his feet. And then he opened eyes, and then he saw this warrior came and put his sword in front of this new Zen monk's foot and bowed down and told, please make me your student. So if you look very carefully how this can happen, remember this. If you observe the animals, that whatever the wild animals, and they don't attack to humans. They don't attack. They don't recognize you are a human, you have to attack them. If you observe deeply, they are very skillful to attack to your movements. That is a kind of like a deep principles when you deeply observe. And when somebody get angry, they attack to your anger, not you. Don't personally hold that. When somebody get mad, they attack to your madness. When somebody want to argue with you, they don't argue personally with you. They argue with your words. When somebody want to fight with you, they fight with your arrogance. So, as you know, well known the Buddha's teaching, nahi verena verani. Anger never ceases by anger. The same principle. In day-to-day life, so whatever that the situations come, remember yourself. Whatever the other person, when other person get angry, It has always power, kind of like a magnet to catch the anger. It has no power to catch the loving kindness. It doesn't go with that. As you know, with the greed, the thought, there is no way the compassion thought can arise. There's no way. If you know, if you study, when you have time to study regarding the thoughts, then the manual of the abhidhamma, or the mind, maybe you will understand that. But remember, there is no way with the greed, there cannot, that two thoughts cannot come together. And that's the another thing is, with the happiness, there is no way that lethargic mind can happen. That's why in the five hindrance, that's where your mind become very clear when you develop some kind of the opposite kind of thoughts. And the other thing is, when you release all these five hindrance, what happening, the other side of the opposite side of qualities start to grow in you. So with the greed, there is no way the wisdom can arise. There is no way, that two thoughts cannot go together. It's like the water and fire. It cannot come together. So then remember yourself. If somebody fight with you, they're not going to fight for your cool, for your balance. Mostly you get disturbed and you become unbalanced. They attack to your unbalance. That is what you have to deeply understand. There's nothing wrong with anybody. But the thing is, when we get disturbed, out of that disturbed, our reaction create the same kind of action, the reaction towards other person. Then other person start to attack to your reaction. So then if you become wise and if you become mindful, not to respond in the same way to other person, then other person not going to come and have a struggle with you. It is a deep dharma or the philosophy that you have to, by practicing, you have to come to the point. But the thing is this, just by listening, just intellectually, when you understand things, that doesn't mean when a situation come, you can apply it. Because always there is the doubt come, and the deeply under the intellectual knowledge, when the doubt arises, what will happen? You lose your balance. That is what happening. That's why sometimes that even though you know a lot of things in day-to-day life, we fail to apply it to our life. Why? Because applying your knowledge or the wisdom is a different thing. So then little by little, if you able to practice that in day-to-day life, then out of that practice you start to develop it, and you start to know that. And that is where deeply you start to recognize how it works. Even with the meditation also same. Even within your sitting also same. And sometimes for a newcomer, sitting 1 hour is a kind of like, it's kind of like a getting into the hell. And that person think it is the end of the life. And when some pain arise, it's kind of like a burning, and it kind of like a blow out the body. That then, tight, and it's try to handle it with the effort. But and maybe you calmly settle down, and it's nothing, but you cannot just intellectually tell that person it going to okay. No, but the person itself, if that practice himself or herself, if that practice little by little, little by little, and deeply start to understand it. So mentally also the same. The mental quality is also the same when it comes to life. You practicing, and then little by little, that practice start to go through this all the ideas or the knowledge and start to clean it. So intellectual learning something and the practicing and recognizing it two different way, and it can clean. It's like this. The that learning this all ideas, concept, believing, this everything we hold in our mind. It's like old grease. When it comes to the engine, that there are grease or there's oily, liquid that allow it to move. But this old grease, in us intellectually hold us. And that's why when we try to do things, but practicing, and when you start to practice, it's kind of like this, you putting some new grease on it. Why? Because any mechanic never going to take out all the parts and clean and put new grease on it. The way they put the new grease, and they just put the new grease on the top of the old. And then what happened? When it start to move, that old grease start to move away. Move away. There is no way it's going to hold there. So the new grease and slowly replace and slowly start to move away without any resistance, without any struggle, without any fight. Naturally, when the new grease replace, the old grease start to go. So you have to practice like that. You cannot resist the ideas. You cannot fight with the ideas, even our own ideas. Because that all the ideas, whatever, so far it came that with you in your life. It build your life so far like this way. It doesn't matter good or bad. You have to accept it. But at the same time, from here, you cannot keep repeating the same. Keep repeating same, you're not going to get anything. Only the thing you will maintain who you are today. So then you have to understand whatever the intellectual knowledge that you develop in your life. Remember, slowly start to apply it little bit. It is a completely different kind of way of living. So by practicing yourself, once you start to apply, it slowly start to change. It's going to change behavior of you inside you. It's completely going to change your DNA pattern even. It's going to deeply change your blueprint. You become completely new person. You are not going to belong to your ancestors or your grandparents, or you're completely going to become new person with the very new blood pattern, and you get out of it. That is what you need. So that is what through this practice, because the without cleaning your blood, without cleaning your blueprint, without cleaning your DNA, and you cannot go this journey through the sansaric journey. And maybe your grandparents too, your grandparents, your parents, and and already with the greed, hatred, and the delusion, maybe knowingly or not knowingly, and it inject to them sometimes. And if you look back that few hundred years backward, your own generations, what they did sometimes, you don't want to go back there. But the thing is this, deeply in us, as habitual patterns, we sometimes we carry the same kind of mentality Only thing is we just change this outside environment. So what you have to do? That's why the beauty of the Buddha's teaching, even that during the Buddha's time, look, he completely introduced a new language, new method, that everything completely new. And when it comes to the community of the Sangha, even from just the using the bathroom and the using the restroom to attaining to enlightenment, and he introduced completely new method. So then when it comes to you, remember that developing your life to a higher level, releasing who you are and changing your inner behavior and completely becoming a new person is very necessary. So for that, remember, this is your time. You can do it. Don't wait for something else. All the qualifications there for you. That's why you hear this. Otherwise, you're not going to hear this. So you hear it because deeper in you, you was waiting to hear that. And you are trying deeper in you. You are struggling to find that path. That's why you hear. Otherwise, you not hear this. So then you have to trust for that. You have to question yourself, why you hear this? Why this monk come and tell these things? Why you hear this? So during this time you can do something else, but you cannot do it like that way. So then remember, first thing that you have to understand, there is a reason in you, and that reason is you look for the change. And so that change, don't allow just it happen only by intellectually. Just remember, bring it to practice. Slowly, little by little, get into that. And one important thing, remember this from today, anywhere in the samsaric journey, how far you go, it doesn't matter. Even you go to hell, even you go to prison, even you go to any hard place, even you with any other people. One important thing, and even teach to children. That is one of the one thing that we missing in our life, especially in your spiritual practice. Don't just go with others or the audience. Don't react to audience. Don't follow the majority. Don't try to make others happy, or don't try to accept things because you want to make them happy. And don't react to it like others. So just think yourself a little bit. Reacting like others, and maybe you do it with the good heart to make other people happy, but finally you are going to end up losing who you are. You will never, once you lose it, you will never, it is very hard to find yourself. So don't then lose it. And later in the long run, other people will respect you, other people will accept you. And when you stand for for your inner truth, when you protect your integrity, rather than forgetting yourself, try to make other people happy and go with them or follow the audience, and then later they're not going to respect you, and then they're not going to accept you. And then it's like everywhere, all over the country, it's like politicians. They look at their behavior, So don't be like that then. Always remember, don't react like others, and always find a higher place better than what other people react. And always try to find the positive side, that which can develop yourself. When other person get angry, stand for your loving kindness and compassion and tolerance. Even you die with that, it's worth for you. That is what you hold with the Dhamma. When other person blame to you, just say Suapateva, oh, may you be well and happy. So you bring the other side. That is what the Buddha is teaching. Not when other person blame, you also blame. When other person hit you, not the way that you going to react the same. So it is you by practicing you understand this. Then it going to, you have no idea. Then even the nature going to hear you. These animals can recognize that. So that is where you are going to experience the power of this Dharma and the power of your awareness, power of your consciousness, power of that becoming good. That is where you're going to understand. So then remember, in this journey, that the Buddha mentioned there are 4 qualities that you have to develop and to experience that. The first one is called Shraddha. So Shraddha is the conviction and the trust that you believe. Without that, you cannot. So then, even when you practice meditation, when the moment comes, are you believing? Are you have the conviction, confident regarding your practice? Or are you jump to something else? So you have to look yourself. When you take a conscious decision, are you have the confidence to be with it? Or are you going to change it later because of something else? And when you take a conscious decision regarding your spiritual practice or regarding something good, and the later, are you changing it? So if you don't believe, then naturally it's going to go away. Another thing is when it comes to the Buddha, that if you heard something, the Buddha told like this, and without arguing yourself, can you accept it? So that is a kind of like the trust that you build regarding the Buddha. And sometimes we hear a lot of things. Oh, Buddha said like this, Buddha said like that. But when it comes to our life, we have our own Buddha in our head. We have our own Tripitaka in our head. We have our own Dharma. Even it happened to the God also. You know, people have their own God in their head. And they are so smart to convert the God to their own ideas. And they think whatever they do, the God going to, help for their ideas. But they don't want to have the conviction or the sacrifice or even to give up that whatever, hold it to them, behalf of the higher purpose or behalf of their spiritual practice. Always people. That's why when it comes to the human mind, it is very, very tricky. So you have to be very careful. So then rather than converting to Dharma to your ideas, try to harbor your life towards the Dhamma. And that is a practice. That is where you need the effort. So when you do that way, what will happen? Naturally, you gain something. What is that? That is what discipline. that you slowly start to develop fundamental human ethics in you. You start to see the connection each other, even not only the human, even the inhalation, exhalation, the trees. That's why in the ancient time, look, your ancestors had a deeper connection with the nature, animals, and they knew there is a deeper connection. And when it comes to today, look at this vaccination. And that from where that half of that, the 50% of how they developed that vaccination, from where it came? Chimpanzees. They took some kind of, help out of the chimpanzees, and then they developed the vaccination. And look at today, entire humanity, you know, the protect out of these chimpanzees and the power of the human mind. So then, you know, why you cannot have the compassion? This is only one example. Each and everything, all the trees, even the bees, they help with the pollination, and all the fruits, flowers, invisibly, this maintained by this nature because of the bees. But people have no connection with that. People don't understand it. Why? Because they deeply disconnect. And so when you develop the Shraddha, what happening? Naturally, you start to get connected to this nature. That is the beauty of the Dharma. That is where you become more humble person. And naturally, you become more relaxed, comfortable person. And then slowly, you start to become very, very relaxed with your sensual pleasures. You're not going to be aggressive with that. And you're not going to go with the strong desires. So then the very first thing you have to develop, the Shraddha or the conviction, the faith towards something higher, towards the Buddha, or towards the teaching, or towards the Sangha, or even whatever the spiritual practice you do. And you have to have the very clear higher purpose toward that way. And you have to accept that teaching and keep it. And whatever you do in day-to-day life, and remember that the higher teachings or the purpose, and then do whatever you do. Then naturally it's going to protect you from certain things. So that is what called the sealer. And out of your bodily, verbally, or mentally actions, that no one going to get disturbed. And naturally you start to get connected to fundamental human ethics, moral ethics. And then the third one is yasasa. That's mean out of your action, no one going to get disturbed. No one going to get disturbed. Even seen, unseen, even the animals, you start to recognize the connection. And then everybody appreciate you. And no one going to harm you. And no any that the fight going to happen you and with others. So whatever situation, you accept it. And another thing is that deeply, that yourself, it help you to settle down within yourself. And whatever the spiritual practice you develop, and we base with the impermanent. And when it come to that, mostly that whatever others behavior, and we unknowingly attack to their behavior, they attack to our behavior. But when you recognize that whatever that everywhere, this everything governed by the impermanent, you're not going to personalize anything, and you're not going to take anything personally. And that way, slowly you release this everything deeper in your heart. So, and then other people, that doesn't mean the whole world going to accept you. it is not like that. But when it come to you, you start to be comfortable with others. That is the first thing. And then maybe some other people not going to be comfortable with you. Maybe some other people start to come against you, but still you going to be comfortable with everyone. So that is the third, that the benefit you will get out of that, the when you deeply have the right conviction, or the faith and the confidence regarding the practice. And the fourth one, Bhoga Sampatti. The Bhoga Sampatti means that by yourself, without harming to anybody, when you start to maintain your life. So whatever in this conventional life, all the facilities going to be there with you. So that is deeply is something that you have to understand. Because we mostly look for happiness and satisfaction out of this all the material world. So that this material things, if it is cannot bring the happiness, what's the point? If it is cannot bring the satisfaction, what is the point? Then it become a struggle. So then remember, the Bhoga Sampatti means not, doesn't mean you going to have lot of things. That's mean you going to have the right things around you materially. So that is a different way of you going to approach to this material world. When you look at yourself, you sometimes you need a lot of things to do things. Sometimes you don't need that much. But if you have the right things at the right moment, that is the most important. So when it comes to maintaining ourselves, when you get into the right spiritual path, naturally what will happen? Your food circle completely going to become changed. You don't need too much food to survive. It's naturally, it is not, I don't eat this, I don't eat that. It is not like that. Naturally, your taste bud, you see, no, that's the craving start to drop. You become very simple with the food. That is one thing. And that you don't have desire to eat too much. It is not you have so much desire to eat, but you think, no, I'm not going to eat. I'm not. It is not like that. It is totally different. Another thing is, you naturally you release that the attachment towards that unnecessary things putting to your body, like ornaments and a lot of jewelries and a lot of mala and maybe tattoos. So like that, you slowly start to get out of that. Slowly get out of that. And it's deeply you start to feel comfortable. Within that the whatever you have, that is something different. So in this very lifetime, if you are able to connect to that level of experience, that level of life, your life becomes so light, comfortable, peaceful within yourself. And that is where you slowly go with this practice. So then remember, and we look for liberation, we look for enlightenment, and we look for transformation ourselves. And but the physically, materially, if we cannot release it, get out of it, how we can get out of our mind? So that doesn't mean you have to let go things. No, it start from the right place. What is that right place? Start to settle down with the Shraddha. That's mean confident towards the higher purpose. And when you have time, start to study about the Buddha and what the Buddha taught, or whatever the religious that you practice. Start to look deeply, not the people. Don't follow people. Following people not going to take you anywhere. you know so get into the bottom of the teaching and look what this is. What is the final destination? And in Dharma, they are saying Nairyanika. So that's mean when you look for the Dharma, it directly take you to the Nibbana. You know, it directly take you to the Nibbana, not anywhere else, not to the heaven or not anywhere. No, it directly take you to the Nibbana. That is the beauty of the Buddha's teaching. So then remember yourself, once you harbor to that, and it's worth for you. So whatever your life, slowly, little by little, start to develop towards that path. And when you come to that point, your your reactions going to change. You're not going to react according to others. And that is where you start to find the balance in you, and you have the trust, and you believe when you even that the death come to you, if you're not going to get disturbed out of that, in if you can hold it to the trust and with your practice, if you die with that, remember it going to liberate you. So then we are not people that try to escape from the death. We are not teaching for you to escape from situations. We are not trying to make you kind of like a head massage and try to empathize, sympathize you through this, the way of life, and make you try to make you comfortable. No, look for the reality. Be real yourself. You can do that. So then how to start and find your balance in you. Keep that balance by practicing day by day, day by day, day by day, little by little, little by little, little by little. And the moment come, you will see in that very moment, you become unshakable. You become unshakable with whatever the unbalance happening in the outside world with the human mind. When you are able to handle yourself without getting disturbed out of others' behavior, that is the moment you're going to recognize you are reached to something beyond this conventional. So with that, I bless upon everyone with this good practice. May all of you be well, happy and peaceful. May no harm come to you, may no difficulties come to you, may no problems come to you. May you also have the patience, courage, understanding and determination to meet and overcome inevitable difficulties in your life. During this time period, may everyone stay healthy and safe. And finally, may all of you attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sabbityo vivajjantu sabbarogo vinassatu mate bhavatvantarayo sukhi digayuko bhava. Ettavata cha ammehi sampadang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Idammi punya kammang asavakkaya vahang hotu sabba dukkha pamunchutu. Bless you.